Hi, Diane Salter from Hong Kong U. And I'm going to throw out just something that's kind of provoking and provocative. We've heard so many good things, and I believe that technology is something that's infused in education and learning now. It's infused in our lives. It's here. It's part of us. Do we need an e-learning strategy or an e-learning policy, or do we need to revisit our policies on learning and teaching and make sure that the notion of technology and using best practice is infused in our teaching and learning policy, as opposed to being separate? As I'm hearing things that also raise those flags about having it separate means that it's out there. And oh yes, and we better use technology in some way. But if we think about learning and what do we need for learning, is it not just something where we think we need to know about it, and where might we pull in things to help with the learning? Because integrating technology, I think, is a wonderful way to get people rethinking their courses and rethinking what we're doing. But should it be a separate policy? I know a lot of us are trying to do that and make a policy. Do we need to rethink that? I wonder what our panel thinks.
I think it's very important, not just to say having a policy or a strategy. How do we really get the professors, the teachers, really rethink about, is it necessary, is it needed that we integrate technology to so-called enhance teaching and learning? I think we can think about the future, the 21st century skills, the 21st century challenges. It's real, because in teacher education, when we talk about preparing teachers, they are facing challenges in a decade's time, and no one can tell what the future will be. Jobs of today will be vanished. There will be new jobs that we never heard of, problems that we have not identified today. Let's come and talk. But do we feel that need? I think that's important. I have a similar question related to pedagogy, teaching and learning. How can we change professors' attitude of thinking? I think this is from Jack's being on the link, which is related. I don't think we should be just talking about technology. I think we need to really think about pedagogy and the learners. We talk so much about lifelong learning. Is technology helpful in that sense? Can we avoid it in today's time when youngsters, digital natives, immigrants, they are immersed anyway in a digital environment with all the possible Facebook, Google, all these enterprises? Actually, we are immersed in an environment which is, I don't think it's reversible. I think it's difficult really to have just a policy and it won't work and say this is the document, this is the strategy that we can direct so-called lecturers. We always talk about and value the instructors' autonomy, academic freedom, which is right. However, it's very tricky these days to really get back people on board to focus and talk about teaching and learning because of the torn apart scenario of academics driven, so-called research intensive, research driven university. How do we balance research with teaching? Which is more important, teaching and learning or research? To me, I can tell you, people always say research will support teaching and learning, and it's necessary. But I can tell you from my own angle, teaching and learning is more important than research in Hong Kong universities for the sake of the society. While research publications are valuable and supportive of teaching and learning, I don't think we should forget about teaching and learning and effort needed and time and resource to be put into that. And if the individual teachers or professors never have time to rethink really about what teaching and learning is to them and meaningful to them, and without that passion, no policy, no platform can ever change their own mindsets. I'm replying in a way to the main question as well. But I think others can join in.
Oh, you get this.
I want to wax philosophical just a moment. You're asking about, should it be a separate strategy? Should it be integral to a teaching and learning strategy? Everything is shifting and in movement. But in some ways, within our own limited time spans, we don't notice the movement. So I would say right now we need we need an e-learning strategy, because e-learning is so new in the time span of education that we need to become conscious of it, figure out what we're doing, and that it becomes part of a teaching learning strategy. But if we even think about teaching and learning strategies, it used to be that we didn't even have those, right? And now we're looking at including that. And even within teaching and learning strategies, it would have been much more of a delivery model, and we're coming much more to an acquisition and what it means for the students, or outcomes-based model. So it's like all these things moving at the same time. But let's be real, e-learning's a little bit behind. 5 to 10 years ago, if we were evaluating something, if it worked, if it even got into the classroom after hundreds of hours of development effort, we were happy. And that was certainly not efficient, and we were barely looking at effectiveness. Just getting it there so that students could actually use it was an accomplishment. Having the desire to have an e-learning strategy where we're starting to look at what we want to accomplish is already a long way along the line. That will never stop moving.
I don't want to be philosophical, I want to be really practical. The reason Chinese U has an e-learning strategy is because it was a QAC recommendation. This is the bottom line. All of us who've had audits so far have been asked for an e-learning strategy. So all the universities that haven't been yet audited, get one, and then you'll get a commendation rather than a recommendation. So, I mean, and I think to be reasonable, I think it is a good thing, because the systems in Hong Kong, to be honest, I think they you know, for a city that has such good infrastructure, the actual systems within the universities are pretty archaic. So all of us are jazzing up our information systems and so on and so forth, and we're a bit behind where other places are. So I think it's entirely appropriate of the QAC to say, look, you know, really in this next few years up until 2012 needs to have a focused attention on this particular aspect of infrastructure. Now, philosophically, I agree with you totally that it's really a teaching and learning issue. And the way we've managed, if you like, to integrate it at Chinese U is again through these committee structures. So the e-learning strategy is under the auspices of the Academic IT Steering Committee, so it's in the e-techie committee. However, it needed to be endorsed by the Senate Committee on Teaching and Learning. And again, back again to this concept of networks and associate deans working with technical folk and so on in the faculty, will hopefully get it implemented. But it's a pragmatic at the moment.
Just a simple again, and to say, I think at this juncture I probably should introduce my partner in crime for a long time, Dr. Jerry Yu. He used to be the Chief Information Officer of City University of Hong Kong, and now he's retired now, but he's not really retired. He's the consultant for JUPAS. So for those of us who have children going into the university system later on, it will be affected by the new JUPAS system. Now, I think we've been discussing this issue for some time. In fact, 3 years ago, when we actually started an e-learning forum in the Asia-Pacific area with Taiwan and Singapore, we are actually saying that eventually the E should disappear from the learning, and you just have learning and E will be into it. But I totally agree with my two colleagues here saying that you have to be practical as well as philosophical. Practicality is that with my university now, we also have been told that we have an affirmation about having an e-learning strategy, so we're told to implement it. But the way that I'm seeing it as implementation is in parallel with OBTL. It's a tool to help OBTL or outcome-based. So from that perspective, it's integrated into teaching and learning.